Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 30th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. Here's British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana. You can see the upper level low that's kept us below average here across much of the Pacific Northwest, spinning over eastern Idaho, pumping some moisture up through Montana here. But you can see offshore here, we're going to start to build another ridge. It's going to last through the weekend, and we're probably going to continue with above average temperatures as we go on in through this next week. We'll check out the extended forecast as well. There's been a little bit of hope of maybe some troughing coming mid-October here. We'll continue to look at that here shortly. Look at Spokane, Washington. Always got a good graphic out there. Mostly sunny, warm fall weather through next Friday. Lows into the 40s and 50s, however. You'll feel that crisp fall air in the evenings and in the mornings as you wake up here, but some high temperatures up towards 80 degrees, maybe even low 80s as we go through the week here. Missoula, Montana, nice good graphic again here today. Cool and wet, as you saw the upper level low in the vicinity out there, spinning, bringing some moisture into the region. Now, Seattle yesterday, a little bit above average. Going to do probably similar temperatures today here across the region. Last day of September, no precipitation expected, so we're going to probably end up with that quarter inch there for Seattle. This is October 2021, so you can see the record highs for October 2nd and 3rd are 79 and 80. We're going to be near those temperatures here, so we could even set a record high for early October, as a nice warm early October looks like it's in the cards here for SeaTac. And here is the yearly graph here. You can see the temperatures we've been getting. The red here is the record high temperatures. Green is average, high, low. And the blue is the record low temperatures here. You can see we're a little bit above average here for precipitation as far as that is concerned. But you see it really start to pick up here as you go through later October, November, and December. And you can see our temperatures really start to fall off here through October. Our average highs go from mid and upper 60s to down towards the mid 50s here by the end of October, Halloween. So just a nice graph to show you guys there. This is Portland. You can see back-to-back days with 1/1300ths of an inch of rain. Nice little storm system moving through there. Beneficial rain out there. But still, they're going to only end up with just over 3/10 of an inch of rain, well below average there for September. Now, this is for Eugene. You can see they did get some beneficial rainfall there, but again, a very dry September, as was the case for much of the Pacific Northwest here. Now taking a look, European 06Z, 100-meter wind speed here. The reason why I'm showing you this is because by Saturday morning, you'll notice this easterly flow across the Cascades, BC, Western Washington, Western Oregon here. We're going to start to introduce any kind of forest fire smoke activity across the Cascades or in eastern Washington, start to bring that into western portions, probably degrade the air quality a bit. We'll take a look at the HUR here coming up. The HUR's been having a hard time picking up on that Bolt Creek fire out there. So it's hard to pick things up on here, but for the most part, I'm just kind of showing you that you can see the easterly component bringing some of the smoke into western Oregon. But right now, it's, again, not showing that Bolt Creek fire kicking out much smoke here, but it's been kind of off the rails on that one there. Now looking here, the European, yesterday's a deterministic run here. You can see upper level low spinning across Idaho. That's what's brought our below average temperatures for a few days across much of the Pacific Northwest. And then you can see this low just kind of cut off out here, allowing this ridging to persist here on in through next week. Trough tries to get close, but it's just not strong enough. Just kind of hangs out over the Pacific here. Reinforces this ridge as we go through next Friday here. Now, what the next thing we're looking at here is this polar lobe. Looks like it might be a little bit stronger here, but this is way out in the extended here models. I've been kind of showing it here, so we're going to continue to watch this one. This might be the one that finally breaks down the ridge and starts to introduce some precipitation into portions of the Pacific Northwest, but no guarantees. However, it is that time of the year where these polar lobes and the polar vortex as a whole start to become stronger. The sun is creeping down south of the equator. We're starting to get longer nights. We build this cold air up over the northern hemisphere and the North Pole here. So eventually this polar vortex and these polar lobes will get strong enough to where they can bring progressive troughs through the region here, and that's what happens every year here as we go through October into November across the Pacific Northwest. So that's what we're watching for now. This is the European ensemble run mean. This is the average of all 50 ensemble runs here. Again, this is 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. It goes that upper level low just kind of hanging out over Montana, troughing, just kind of hanging out over the Pacific Ocean here. Good agreement on the ridge coming up through here next week. Polar lobe up here tries to get going here and swings some troughing down again across the Gulf of Alaska. But how far east will this make it? Are we going to start to bring some precipitation chances? You can see the ridge pushed off to the east here a bit. So this would have some marine influence across the region here. But again, low confidence out there, the extended here on this. Now this is looking at the control run. This is probably the most likely solution of the ensembles here. So as we go through the extended, you can see again good agreement for next week with this ridging going through all the way to next weekend. Polar lobe starts to get going here, and check this out. We get some pretty good troughing over here off the Gulf of Alaska, but you can see it still gets cut off from the main source across the North Pole here, and you can still see the ridging exist across the western portions of North America here. But this is going to be a tricky forecast. It's probably going to switch back and forth. Yesterday it showed the troughing a little bit closer here across the region here, so we're just going to keep watching that day by day here. It's kind of exciting to see what the models bring day to day. Here's the European on the left. The GFS is on the right. You can see kick that upper level low down through the Intermountain West here, build the ridge. Good model agreement here with how the troughing develops over the Gulf of Alaska. Really just helps to amplify this ridge here, though, through next week. Nice warm temperatures. Enjoy it while it lasts. Now, there's some important differences that start to happen here after about hour 140. You can see the GFS start to swing this trough closer to the Pacific Northwest here by hour 240, and the European here with the ridging off over the Pacific Northwest and out over the ocean here. So pretty important differences here. So we'll just continue to watch that for now. We're still 10 days out, so we have plenty of time to look at that. Now looking at the Northern Hemisphere, Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon here. Here's Hawaii, Pacific Ocean is here. Here's Siberia and Russia over here. This is the European deterministic yesterday. And you can kind of see these polar lobes move around pretty well. I want to show you the one off into the, let me back up a little bit more, and you can see how this cold air kind of gets deposited out over the Gulf of Alaska, and it's just not progressive. It's not connected to the polar lobe across the North Pole here, so it just kind of gets cut off, helps to build this ridge, and it's just not enough energy to get through into the Pacific Northwest. And you can see another polar lobe drop some cold air off over the Gulf of Alaska again, and again it gets kind of pinched off here and just does not make any progression eastward. Now through the extended, you can see this one swinging through, looks a little bit stronger, and this is what the European's been hinting at, maybe starts to bring the troughing a little bit closer in the 10 to 15 day range. But again, that's way far out there. We have plenty of time to watch that, and we'll continue to do so day by day. The GFS here, let's go ahead and see what the 06Z was showing. You can see again, just this cold air gets pinched off and kind of cut off over the Gulf of Alaska here. But you can see this kind of building here over Siberia, over western Alaska here. Looks like it gets a little more organized, a little bit stronger through the extended. This is the GFS ensemble mean average, 18,000, not 18,000 feet, sorry, this is the tropopause potential temperature. So this is the upper levels of the atmosphere, but you can see it does cool off and we start to get troughing more in the vicinity as we move towards the mid portions of October. But you can see the warm air in the meantime as we go through next week on into next weekend before that potential shift that will eventually come here. Just don't know how long it's going to take. So we'll continue to watch that day by day, like I said. Spokane International, you can see nice warm temperatures, nice chilly nights actually, but no heat related concerns. Just enjoy these warm days as they come. Klamath Falls Regional Airport here, you can see the overnight lows down in the 40s. Nice and chilly, but some nice warm afternoon highs up towards 80 degrees as we go through the week here. Seattle, Tacoma showing this. The European, these are the 2 days where I believe the record high is 79 and 80. So we have a chance to get towards these record high temperatures here Sunday and Monday. We'll continue to watch that. And some nice warm above average seasonable temperatures as we go through the rest of the week. Kamloops Airport, nice and warm up into the 70s, maybe even an 80 degree reading here as we go through Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how that goes. Brookings, Oregon. You saw yesterday when they had in the extended here that warm up with the offshore flow, but you can see how fickle this is. That kind of took that away through the extended forecast, but nice seasonable temperatures through the extended there. I just wanted to show you guys the precipitation as we go through mid-October. You can kind of see just the chaotic nature of it. Some of these runs look at 2 inches, 1.7, and plenty of dry runs in here. So just a very weak and scattered, chaotic signal there through the extended forecast. Tillamook Airport out on the coast of Oregon there. Plenty of dry in there with some really wet soakers kind of mixed in. Just a very nebulous signal there for what's to come. Vancouver International, same thing. You guys get the picture there. Now check this out. This is the Drought Monitor. Remember a few days ago I talked about this short-term abnormally dry here exists for Pacific Northwest, Western Washington. Now they put out a new one here. So watch as I scroll over the area. Now look as I go through Eastern Washington, they put a little bit of moderate drought, got extended there out towards Spokane and towards Ritzville and some of Eastern Washington. And you can see that's now been introduced for the Cascades and Western Oregon as well. So nice little slider you can drag back and forth here and see the differences. No real change to Oregon here. Some extreme drought still exists for east slopes of the Cascades down there through Oregon. But we did worsen drought conditions here coming up. Now look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This was issued yesterday. Look at this bullseye right on the Pacific Northwest. Nice and warm going through next weekend here. Check that out. Most of the West is included in this. And of course, that usually means 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook below average. We're typically not getting a lot of precipitation by this time of the year, but we are starting to get some. So this is kind of an important signal there. And look at this monsoon season down here through the Southwest. Just legendary. People are going to be remembering this for years to come. Probably a decade or more people will be talking about this. And look at this above average signal across portions of Alaska. Interesting. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This is probably going to last above average temperatures all the way out through into the early portions of mid-October before that potential change starts to come through mid-October. But you can see the signal right now above average temperatures here for the Pacific Northwest. Now look at the 8 to 14 day. Look at this monsoon season going on here and just kind of typical near normal precipitation potential here through mid-October. Now look at this U.S. seasonal drought outlook. So anything you see with the green or the light tan color, drought remains but improves, drought removal likely. So you can see that Oregon is supposed to get, some of this drought removed as we go through the end of the year coming up here. And it says like that moderate area of drought through western or eastern Washington there could be removed as we go through the season here. So hopefully that is the case. But drought persists. You can see southeast portions, southern portions of Oregon down through California, Nevada, Utah, not likely to improve. So anyway, yeah, here goes this upper level low. That's what cooled us off for a few days here. We've got some nice low clouds around the area today, but enjoy that while it lasts because the warm weather will return here probably for the next week across the region here, and we'll continue to watch some of this cold air as it works its way around the northern hemisphere here, and we'll see if we can get some progressive troughs finally down into the region. It's going to come eventually. We just are not sure when that's going to happen. Some of the models are hinting at it in the 10-day range, but again, that's way out there. We have plenty of time to watch that for now. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will actually, one more thing. I want to tell you guys that I am working on the windstorm thing. It's still going. I'm trying to organize which windstorms I want to talk about here. I've narrowed it down to a list of about 25 storms. So I don't know if I'm going to talk about all 25 of them, if I want to narrow that down a little bit further. And I'm just trying to get the best data and information into the video to make it interesting for you. So anyway, yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll check out these long-range forecasts, and I will talk